Hugh, let's start with this. You've already come so far and quitting now. That's not an option. Let me paint you a picture. You're climbing a steep mountain, the sun's heat blazing down on your back, every step feels heavier than the last. You're exhausted. You've been at it for hours and the summit still feels like it's miles away. Then comes that voice in your head, the one whispering, just give up. It's too hard. But here's the twist. What if you're just a few steps away from the peak, from the breathtaking view, from everything you've worked for? That moment of doubt is where most people fail, not because they weren't capable, but because they quit too soon. Now let's talk about why you're not going to be one of them. You didn't come this far to turn back now. Think about the sacrifices you've made, the late nights, the early mornings, the moments you've pushed through when others would have stopped. It wasn't for nothing. Every step you've taken so far has brought you closer to the life you've been dreaming of. And let's face it, life is not going to wait for you to catch up. The opportunities are here now. You've already invested so much, and that alone makes quitting not an option. Now, imagine this. A farmer plants a seed, waters it, nurtures the soil, and waits. Days go by, weeks pass, but nothing happens. Frustration sets in. But here's the thing, beneath the surface, the seed is sprouting roots, building a foundation. Then one day, almost like magic, it breaks through the soil. Success works the same way. Just because you don't see results yet doesn't mean progress isn't happening. The roots you've been growing, the work you've been putting in, it's laying the groundwork for your breakthrough. Alright, let's shift gears for a second. Have you ever wondered why we tend to give up right before we're about to win? It's a psychological phenomenon, and it's real. Our brains are wired to avoid discomfort. When things get tough, your brain is trying to protect you by saying, this is hard, let's stop. But the problem is, the brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about keeping you comfortable. That's where you come in. You have to override that instinct. Tell yourself this discomfort is temporary. My success is permanent. Oh, quick question. How many times have you started something, felt it give a beginning, only to let it fizzle out? Maybe it was a gym membership, a side hustle, or a big idea. It's like signing up for a marathon and quitting after the first mile. Why do we do that? Because we underestimate the power of perseverance. Starting is easy, finishing is hard. But that's also why it's worth it. Most people don't have the guts to finish. That's what separates those who win from those who don't. Let's get real for a moment. If you quit now, where does that leave you? Back at square one. And square one is a tough place to be because you're not just starting over, you're starting over with the weight of regret. Regret for not seeing it through, for wondering what could have been if you just pushed a little harder. Regret is heavy. It's a burden that sticks with you longer than failure ever will. Because failure is just a stepping stone. Regret? That's a chain holding you back. Speaking of chains, do you know what's holding most people back from living the life they want? Fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But let's flip the script. What if you're not afraid of failing, but afraid of succeeding? Yes, that's a thing. Success comes with responsibility, with change. It's uncharted territory, and it's scary. But here's the secret. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your guide. If you're afraid, it means you're doing something worth doing. And just when you think you can't go on, think about this. What's the alternative? Staying where you are. Settling for less than you deserve? Letting someone else dictate your future? No way, you're better than that. You're capable of more. And deep down, you know it. That's why you're here, watching this video, looking for that spark to keep going. So here's your spark. You're not alone. Every successful person you look up to has felt what you're feeling right now. The difference, they didn't quit. Let's talk about momentum for a second. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. At first, it's almost impossible. You're using all your strength just to move it an inch. But then something amazing happens. The higher you go, the easier it gets. And before you know it, the boulder starts rolling on its own. That's momentum. And here's the kicker, you're already on the hill. You've already started. Don't stop now when you're so close to reaching the tipping point. Let's inject some humor here. Remember those times you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. How'd that work out? Tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. And before you know it, you're in the same place, just older and more frustrated. Funny how procrastination tricks us into thinking we're saving ourselves from discomfort when we're really just delaying progress. Don't fall for it. Start today, keep going today, finish today. Speaking of finishing, let me ask you this, what's your finish line? Is it financial freedom? A healthier body? A thriving business? Whatever it is, keep it in your mind like a lighthouse guiding you through the storm. Every time you feel like giving up, picture that finish line. Feel what it's like to cross it, to achieve what you've once thought was impossible. That feeling, that's your fuel. Now, let's create some urgency. Time is not waiting for you. Every day you delay, someone else is out there working for the same goals. The competition doesn't stop. The world doesn't pause for you to catch your breath. So why are you hesitating? The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. Alright, quick story time. Imagine you're on a game show. There's a big red button in front of you. And the host says, if you press this button, you'll achieve everything you've ever wanted. But if you wait too long, the button disappears. Would you press it? Of course you would. Life is offering you that button right now. The only difference is pressing it means taking action, staying consistent, and refusing to quit. Before we wrap up, let's talk about your next move. You've made it this far in the video, which means you're serious about change. But watching isn't enough. You have to act. So here's what you're going to do. Keep this momentum going by checking out my next video on the power of compounding. It's going to blow your mind and show you how small, consistent actions can create massive results over time. Click the link on the end screen, and I'll meet you there. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Eagle Motivation Hub. This channel is here to inspire, empower, and guide you to the life you've always wanted. You've got this, and we've got your back. Let's make it happen. See you in the next video.